So, I'm Carmen Ross, and the title of my story is Wannabe. A little over 2 weeks ago, something pretty significant happened. It's never happened before. And this is a big story in the sporting news. And in that, the college basketball tournament always happens this time of year. And a couple weeks ago, the women's final game drew more viewers than the men's final game. Never happened before in history. A lot of people may not realize that. They may have heard of the game. They may have heard of some of the college games over the past month or so. But that was a pretty big deal. And the reason it was a pretty big deal, it was related to one particular player named Caitlin Clark, who had played for Iowa State. Now, Caitlin Clark has outscored all men and women at the college level, and that's a pretty big feat. A lot of three-point shots, very just exciting game, and that's why people tuned in to see the women's final more than the men's final, because they had that kind of a player. Well, listening to the games or watching the games, listening to a lot of these stories, I heard that Caitlin Clark in second grade had the dream of getting a college scholarship and going to the WNBA, playing at that level. She was in second grade and she identified that goal. And I went, in second grade? You know, WNBA, that she was that young and she identified that WNBA existed when she was in second grade. I thought about when I was in second grade. When I was in second grade, the WNBA didn't exist. It wasn't even, as far as I know, a dream in anyone's mind. So when I was in second grade, I was a Little League wannabe. Caitlin Clark had been a WNBA wannabe. Now, I started out as a baseball wannabe, Little League wannabe, but I was really a basketball wannabe, and I'll get to that. But the Little League wannabe, my brother played Little League, and he came home with the coolest red hat one day. And on that red hat, there was this big M, and that stood for Moran Sporting Goods. That was the team he was on. And I just knew that I wanted to play on any team that wore that cool red hat, because I wanted to be like my brother. You see, when I was born, my brother wanted a brother. And I think, well, he got the next best thing, 100% tomboy, because I wanted to be like him and I wanted to play sports. So I started out with the baseball, and probably the highlight of my day would be to go out and have a catch with my dad and my brother, and I'd be sitting on the sidelines, eagerly waiting for my opportunity to get in there and play. And my dad would wind up, and he'd, try to zing one in on my brother. My brother was a catcher, and he was really trying to help him develop his skill as a catcher. But I would watch from the sidelines, eagerly waiting for my chance to get in there. And I was watching their every move, their every muscle move, because when it was my turn, I wanted to get up there, and I really wanted to pitch hard and zing it into my brother. Because let's face it, he was my brother. I wanted to make his hand sting. So I wanted to pitch that ball really hard and show him just how hard I could throw the ball. Well, we would do that, and then sometimes we would shoot some baskets. But I started out playing baseball a little bit more. But as I started to play basketball more and more with my brother and with other people, that really became where I wanted to spend more time. So from there, I realized at that age that I really wasn't old enough to play Little League. So I kind of let that go. But when I got a little older and I realized, hey, I'm old enough to play now, I said something to my brother, and he said, you can't play Little League. Boys play Little League. Girls don't play Little League. And I said, wait a minute. Because I'm a girl, I can't play. And he said, yeah, of course. The girls don't and at that time, that was true. So I stood there, and I remember where I was standing in the house, and I just said, I was incredulous. And you say at that age I couldn't have known what that meant, but I did. I know now what it means, and I thought back, that's how I felt. I could not wrap my brain around the fact that I couldn't play baseball simply because I was a girl. So I was a pretty resourceful kid. So I couldn't play Little League. I started to look for every and any opportunity I could to play sports, to play baseball, to play basketball, anywhere I could. So I'd go over to Derby Park in the summer. Derby Park, I went over, I'd play softball, starting out playing softball. And thank goodness, Coach Luciano was at Derby Park when I was growing up. Because of him, he really provided me an opportunity, made me feel welcome as a young female athlete. Because that wasn't easy for him. I was the only girl over there playing. And the boys didn't necessarily want me playing. So I sat on the sidelines a lot. Again, watching softball, then watching basketball. So as I got older and a little bit better at basketball, this is what I wanted to play more and more. Now, I loved baseball. I loved softball. But as I played basketball more, I loved basketball that much more. That was my first love. And that's where I really found a home. And hey, even at Derby, playing with the boys, I'd be sitting on the bleachers, again, on the sidelines, watching the games. And every once in a while, I'd get picked and I'd be able to play. And when I did, I'd be very excited. Oftentimes I didn't. And because I didn't, I'd go home and I'd get the ball out and I would practice all the moves, maybe dribbling between your legs, behind your back, how they were shooting, reverse layups, you name it. I would just play and play, and I would practice the game. Later that same day, I might go back over to Derby Park in the evening to watch the Recreation League, again, for boys, not for girls. There was no league for girls. So I'd sit on the sideline and watch. And I would, again, watch every move. I'd go home and I'd practice. Well, I would practice until it got dark, until I could barely see the rim. And my mom would have to call me in. So I did this for a few years until maybe middle school, where I had some opportunity to actually play on a team for our school. And that was a lot of fun. But it wasn't until high school that I really started to see things shift. Now, I attended high school in 1972 to 1976. And in 1972, something big happened, unbeknownst to me, because I was busy being a teenager. Title IX passed. And when Title IX passed, things were going to start to shift. But again, I didn't know that. I was a young person being a young person. I majored in, being a teenager at that point, playing basketball, making friends, that kind of thing. But I noticed that I was able to go out for the team. We actually had uniforms. That was new for me. We actually had a coach. That was new. My sophomore year, we actually started to have a basketball tournament, and that was a lot of fun. My junior and senior year, we actually started to have an organized league that the girls were playing in because Title IX had made this happen. By my senior year, we had sectional playoffs, and the team that I was on, we had a good team. We were able to win our Section C final and then win the BC playoff, which was a big deal. And again, at that time, that's as far as you could go for girls. The girls didn't have a state tournament yet. But that's as far as we could go, and we went that far. In that last game, I actually had a recruiter there that at the end of the game, and we were able to win that game, offered me a scholarship to go to college playing basketball. Now, I would have never dreamed that that could have happened when I was in second grade. So I'll come back around to where I started, and that is that because of Title IX, the impact Title IX has provided all these opportunities. And it was really just starting when I got in high school. And I couldn't have those dreams because I didn't see them as even being possible. Caitlin Clark had that dream in second grade to go on, play in college, play in the WNBA. And the impact of Title IX has been tremendous. And my hope is that it continues to grow and expand the opportunities for young female athletes. So like me, they don't have to sit on the sidelines as much as I did. They get to be out there on the field, on the court, playing whatever sport they want to be playing. And that's my hope, that young female athletes dream big and achieve those dreams.